Hello, my name is Heather Townsend and I am the writer of the Financial Times Guide to Business Networking. In today's video, we're going to be looking at how you can get appointments from your networking. When I meet people, they often say to me, but I'm going networking to generate business, but I don't seem to be getting any business. So how do I go from networking to sales meetings? So in today's video, we're going to look at how you can create the right conditions to get appointments from your networking. Now, firstly, you need to be fishing in the right place. It goes without saying, if you're networking and you're not meeting the right people who you need to meet, either introducers or potential clients, then you're never going to get the right appointments. So firstly, be selective over where you're networking and making sure that you're meeting people who are well attached, networked with the type of people you want to meet. So for example, if you want to meet accountants, go to a place where there's going to be lots of accountants or people well connected to accountants. The next thing you need to do is, and I know this sounds strange, is you shouldn't go looking for appointments, and the key thing is looking for appointments. When you go networking and you see somebody literally working the room for sales meetings, it's a real turn off. You just want to avoid it. So the first thing to do is go in the mindset that you're going to meet people to build relationships. And it's from these relationships that connections, appointments will come. So your focus should not be on looking to generate business. Your focus should be on looking to build up relationships. Because people go through a process, and that process is know, like and trust, and you need to get to the trust bit before they'll open up their black book, they'll agree to meet you for a sales meeting, or they'll recommend you to others. So the key thing is, when you're going out networking, don't go looking for business or appointment. Go looking for people that you like, that you can connect with, and that are well connected to your target market or introducers. And that way, when they know, like and trust you, they will then be prepared to open their black book and help you get those all important appointments. The next thing to do is, when you go, you need to be credible, and you also need to be very succinct in your proposition. So have you got what you're all about down to 15 words? For example, I help professionals achieve more for their time, effort and money. That's very simple. The next step is, okay, so that's under 15 words. People ask, well, how do you do that? It's then to put in the sales story. So put in the beginning, so what was the pain, what was the problem that you were presented with, and what were the results after you'd finished. So for example, I might explain that one of my clients was a freelancer. She'd got bored, she'd actually got slightly depressed, she'd lost direction, and after 3 months of working with me on a one-to-one coaching basis, 6 months later, she'd moved from a freelancer into her own premises, out of her study. She'd gone on to limited company status, and she was happy, she was satisfied, and she had a growing business that was taking her where she wanted to. Now, very often, if you meet somebody and they have a specific need, they will connect to that sales story and they'll ask you more about it, and you'll see that there's buying signals. Now, if you see those buying signals when you're networking, do take the liberty to sort of pre-qualify and investigate further, but don't try and sell there and then. At that point, arrange a one-to-one, something where you can talk in more detail, explore, and actually act as an advisor and find the right solution, rather than going, well, I think you need this and it'll be this amount of money. You're not there to sell, you're there to develop relationships. Do take the time to offer to help. More often than not, it's about giving into the relationship, offering to help, doing little things for the other person. It might be something very simple, such as, who do you want to meet? And let me see if I can connect you to them. There's all sorts of things. Or, I saw a great article about this. Would you be interested if I sent it to you? It's all those little things that can really help to build up that process of know, like and trust. Because remember, you've got to get to the point where you're hitting trust before you'll start to get those all important appointments and referrals. The next thing to do is you need to be selective. Not everyone in that room that you're in or on that forum is going to be the right person for you. So don't waste your time. If you're talking to someone and you can't feel that connection, and you've given it a good 5 to 10 minutes and you can't see what's in it for you, politely make your excuses and recirculate. You're just wasting your time if you're trying to flog a dead horse. And then you really need to listen. It's all about the other person when you're networking. Listen, listen, listen. Get them to talk about their business. Get them to talk about what they're passionate about and be interested. You know, some of the great opening lines that you can get to is, "How's things?" And that works for any language, any culture. It is what I would call culturally neutral. There's no loaded dice there. Another thing that you can ask is, so what prompted you to set up your own business? Or tell me your story of how you came to be here in your career. And most people will love telling their own story. And this is the point where you sit back, you listen, you probe, and you know, at this point you can be pre-qualifying whilst they're telling you their story, what they're all about. But do remember that often the important juicy details that will make the difference are not going to happen in that first conversation. They'll happen in the third or the fourth or the fifth. That brings me to the next thing, is you need to follow up. It's no good just exchanging a business card and hoping that an appointment will magically happen. What I suggest you do is you break your people you want to meet into 3 categories. The first is A-listers, the second is B-listers, and the third is C-listers. So anybody that's an A-lister is either a potentially hot prospect or client in the short term, or somebody who is very, very well connected to your target market. And these are people that you really want to court, you want to woo, and these are the people that I call the George Clooney's of networking. You want to snuggle up and be close to them. You want to build that relationship, because you know if you've got the know, like and trust process down, when you get to trust with them, there will be a consistent stream of referrals, opportunities and appointments with the people that matter. So make sure you do follow up. So send a quick email. Now if they're a C-lister, these are people that they are very unlikely to be able to help you in the long term. And the B-lister is somewhere between the A and the C-lister. So the jury's out. They may be able to help you, but have different follow-up processes for all 3 of these categories. Tag them on your CRM system as this, but do take that time. Always make sure you reply to all of them, and if you think someone's an A-lister and you've had a good connection, do request a phone call or a meeting afterwards. You're still not trying to sell, you're trying to generate a relationship. And then finally, when you are networking, you do need to have a prepared call to action. For example, if they're a C-lister, your call to action is very simple. It's been great to meet you. Who can I introduce you to? There is no need for you to think about selling, need to think about really developing the relationship further. You know, is it actually that you want to ask for a referral? So who do you know who may be able to help me with this? If they're connected to an organisation that you want to be introduced to, ask for that introduction. I hope you don't mind, but I would love to be introduced to so-and-so. Is it okay for me to ask? You know, always assume that you don't have a right to be introduced, and always put your language that way. Most people say yes, of course, if they've had a good conversation with you, which is why it's important to spend the time developing that relationship initially. And then finally, as I've mentioned, if you think that they are an A-lister or a B-lister with potential to be an A-lister, then ask for that one-to-one. I've really enjoyed meeting you. I'd like to take our conversation further and find out how I can help you more in the future. Is it okay if we set up a phone call or a face-to-face meeting? So in summary, there are 8 steps to get appointments. Firstly, go fishing in the right place. Secondly, have the mindset that it's about relationships. Don't go looking for appointments. make sure you spend the time with people going through the know, like, trust process, because otherwise they are not going to give you appointments, referrals or opportunities. Do have your proposition so you can articulate it in under 15 words, and then have sales stories to back that up to show how you've delivered the payoff, the exceptional results for others. Making sure you're listening and being interested in the other person first and foremost. It's not about you, it's about them. Do offer to help, and remember, be selective in who you talk to. If you can't find any sort of common ground, rapport, then move on. Give people 5 to 10 minutes of your time, and if you're not feeling that connection by then, move on. And then finally, you need to have that call to action. What is it that you want to do as a result of that conversation? My name is Heather Townsend, and I am the writer of the Financial Times Guide to Business Networking.